Yo, what is going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Today we are going to be doing part 5 in our Forgotten Album series for 1992. So we have 3 albums here that we are going to give you guys that are just completely forgotten about or just don't get much love. So let us jump in here to the first one, and that is going to be Rockhead. This is the debut and only album from Rockhead. Now, a lot of I just recently picked this up a couple years ago. I just randomly came across it, never heard anything off of it. And then when I looked at the back here in the UCD store or electronic store, wherever I found this at, I did take notice that Bob Rock was the producer of it. So I thought, okay, let me just try it. And it's a good year, 1992. We love 1992 for rock and metal, especially hair metal and sleaze metal and such.
Hell yes.
I jumped on it, okay? And I was super impressed. Now, I was not aware that Bob Rock was even in a band. He was in other bands as well, but I didn't know this was his band in 1992. So that kind of threw me for a loop, but he is the guitar player here. And that kind of makes sense because he has played guitar in pieces for Motley Crue on the Dr. Feelgood album, even on Saint Anger for Metallica and such like that. So certainly can play as well as produce, but I think more people, more so than not, I would say, know Bob Rock as a producer, not as a musician per se. So, but nonetheless, though, this album is super good. So you do have 13 tracks on here. Now, yes, that is a good amount, but generally speaking, it's a pretty solid 13 song album. Now, we always like to preach on the channel that if you go over 10, 11 songs on an album, you are really playing with the let's throw some filler in here instead of having an album that's all killer, that's 10 tracks or 9 tracks, what have you. But Rockhead does a pretty good job of keeping it like this the whole way through the album. You have Chelsea Rose was one of the singles on here, which is fine. Heartland was another single as well, which that song kind of sounds a little bit like 1992, if you will. That is the one song on here that I'm like, okay, I can definitely tell I'm in 1992 with this song here. But good nonetheless. It's still a good song. Bob Rock and the boys that he has here are from his previous band as well, and just some other bands, and even they had guest appearances from Little Caesar and members from Bon Jovi and such like that jump in on this. But I think the strong suit for me is when the songs are mid-tempo to slower pace songs. I think that's where Rockhead really excels. Now, the faster tracks are fine. I like them. There's not really much bad on here. I could probably take maybe 1 or 2 tracks off here and make a super strong album. But generally speaking, though, it's really, really good, whether it is a mid-tempo, fast track, or slow track. But I do really enjoy the slower pace stuff on here. There are a couple ballads here, uh, Baby Wild, Death Do Us Part is kind of like an acoustic type feel to it. Love Hunter is a really good song, one of my favorites off this album. House of Cards, the final track, is super good. Angel Fire, another one that's kind of on the more the acoustics are kind of up out front, if you will. It's a good album overall. I was not aware that this whole band was Canadian. I didn't know that because I certainly would have chose this album as one of the 4 albums in our Canadian Foursquare that we did with Rock and Danger. So I'm definitely gonna ask Rock and Danger here now that I'm sure they knew that Rockhead was Canadian, but I'm just gonna throw that out there at them, just see what they say. But anyway, really good stuff here. Bob Rock guitar playing is good. I was just shocked when I found this, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know Bob Rock was technically a musician as well." Okay, this is cool, very cool. But obviously, 1992, here we are with the same story again. Just nothing's gonna sell, no matter if he just got off doing the Black album and Doctor Feelgood, and then here in a couple years, he'll be doing Motley Crue 1994, and it's just it doesn't matter if you have any kind of inkling of hair metal. Now, this isn't necessarily hair metal either. It's just a good hard rock, but obviously with Bob Rock being in the hair metal scene as far as producing, this does kind of have a slight feel of that and does get lumped in here with hair metal, but I like it a lot. Like I said, probably like 3 or 4 of these tracks on here goes on my ballad playlist. So like I'm cool with it like that. And then even there's fast tracks on here too, like Bed of Roses, Chelsea Rose. Like there are good stuff mid tempo to faster tracks on here as well. It's not just a ballad party. So definitely one to check out for you guys here. Bob Rock. And I know a lot of people know who Bob Rock is. So if you didn't know he had a band, go check out a couple other videos and just check out this album while you're at it. Very, very good stuff. Yo, what's up, guys? I just wanted to jump in right here in this video and say thank you so much for watching so far and for watching all the other videos as well that we post. And also, can you guys click the like button? Help us get out, push us out into the YouTube algorithm for all other metal fans to find us and to find this music. And also fans that aren't aware that they're fans of this music and of these bands and such that we like to talk about here. And also, too, if you guys want to subscribe, hang out, build this community up like it used to be back in the golden era of rock and metal, especially in the 80s and such. That's our goal here, and it takes me and every single one of you guys as well to keep this genre alive, and keep it prospering into the future. So that is a big goal on this channel. So if you guys are down with that, I have nothing else for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will get right back into this video. All right, so next for our number 2 pick here today, we have Steelheart, Tangled in Rains.
Hey, now you speak my language here.
This was on MCA Records. What can I not say about this album? Because this is an absolutely awesome album. It is, because the debut is absolutely great too, Steelheart's. But I don't know. Sometimes I think I just have to choose this as probably my favorite Steelheart album just because of how good it is. And I gotta be honest with you, when circa 2011, my senior year in high school, this motherfucker was being played like nobody's business. People that didn't even know me knew this album and knew songs off this album because I played it so much. So like songs like Loaded Mother and Late for the Party, they were on my motorcycle riding playlist in high school and party playlist. Like I remember going out with friends and stuff, and those 2 songs were certainly somewhere being played with our group. And they weren't even metal guys, even like they weren't even like they liked hard rock and metal, but not hair metal. Certainly, like I was pretty much the only one in my class, I would say, of 2011 that liked hair metal. I certainly, like I did anyway, but people knew who Vane were. People knew who Steelheart was. People knew who Cinderella was, like because of me. Because of me just playing the shit all the time and wearing the t-shirts and everything. Like, so that's what like this album brings me back a little bit to that. To the senior year and like just like riding the Harley around. And just awesome. Just be blank or just blaring these songs in my headphones. Going to school and coming home and just going out with friends and stuff like that. It was just a fun time, and this album really, and that's the thing that I always say too, like all of these hair metal albums, because I was born in 1992, like all of these hair metal albums were introduced to me on a level playing field, like when I was 12, 13 years old, when I started seriously getting into it. Like my parents got me off on a good start ever since I was born, but like to actually start my own collection, finding stuff myself, like that was around 12, 13 years old. And, like, so I see everything kind of on a level playing field. And that's why, like, because I did buy Appetite for Destruction my 11th grade year or senior year. And, like, it's great. It's good and everything. But, like, I played this album way more. I played Wild Side way more, like, so that's why I kind of say, like, when I say Appetite for Destruction, get out of the way. Like Tangled and Rains is here, and we're gonna be partying. Like that's why I say that, because like I didn't have anyone tell me, or the TV, MTV, or radio tell me, oh yeah, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Motley Crue, they're the cool thing, And now, yes, they were being played on radio, and you heard about those bands, those big legacy bands at the time, but they weren't necessarily like, hey, they're the cool kids around like they were in '89, So it kind of just comes back to like hearing all of these albums, not just these three, but like all of the hair metal albums that I came in contact with on a level playing field and not being brainwashed per se. Like brainwashed is kind of like probably a too harsh of a term, I would say, but to that level, like of being like, oh, Guns N' Roses is just being played for the 30th time today, so I gotta like it. No, that wasn't me. Like I went and bought my own collection, didn't really listen to the radio, and stuff like that. So that's why a lot of forgotten stuff gets a shit ton of love from me, and just the unknown stuff as well. And it's great, just great stuff. Stuff even better that's sold millions of copies, in my opinion. But anyway, that's a little bit of a rant.
Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong?
To what we're getting into with this album. Like I said, Loaded Mother, Late for the Party, two absolutely great songs. And Loaded Mother starts off the album. Then you got the single Sticky Side Up. That's another awesome ass song. Just catchy as hell. Got to slow it down a little bit here with Electric Love Child, and then you got Late for the Party. Then you have like a ballad here, All Your Love. And you jump back on with a nice groove with Love 'Em and I'm Gone, Take Me Back Home. And then you got, I guess, what would you call this here? The self-band titled song, or like self-band song? It's called, the song's called Steelheart. So I don't know what the hell you would call it. So let's just call it Steelheart. The band title track, if you will. Now that is a heavier song. Like that is probably one of the hardest songs, at least up until this point, that Steelheart did. Just like really fast chugging on the guitar, and Miljenko just is still very clear in his delivery and in his vocals, but has an edge to it. And that's what I think I like a lot about Tangled and Reigns compared to the debut, which, like I said, they're both amazing. I love them both. But I like, not that this album's sleazy per se, but it does have a little bit more of an edge, a little bit more kick to it. That's the best way I can kind of explain it. Production's still really good, but it's just not so clean at the same time. Like there's a little bit of an edge here to the songwriting in some of the songs. And then you got track number 9, Mama Don't You Cry, which is a great song. Like I can't listen to that all the time because like it brings up emotions and I don't feel like, crying all the time. So, but when it does come on, it's an absolutely great song. It's definitely along the lines of Cinderella's Hard to Find the Words, which Tom is talking about his mom and passing away and such. So very good, very much in the same breath as that. And then you got the 10-track final track, Dancing in the Fire. This is to the point a little bit of what I was talking about with Rockhead. You had 13 tracks. And you have Steelheart here with 10 tracks, and they're all pretty much killer. Like, there's no filler at all on this. Like, this album's damn good. Because I kind of forgot that this only had 10 tracks. Like, I kind of was thinking like 11 or 12. I don't know. Because it sucks because I don't just put on the CD anymore that much. And I just, it kind of shocked me to see that there's only 10 songs, but they're all great. So, like, when I'm listening to this album, I'm like, okay, bang, 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 bang. Like, yeah, good shit. So I'm good with this album. Like, very, very good. But like, I could honestly probably tell you that the debut Steelheart album is pretty much all killer as well. Yeah, Tangled and Reigns, 1992. Steelheart just got screwed over. And obviously, Miljenko getting hurt did not help the situation at all. But like we say all the time in these 1991, 1992, 1993, and even 4 videos, just wrong time. It's so hard to sell, especially as a newer band at that point, as being your first or second album. Super hard to sell. Like, yes, you do have your examples of Firehouse, and even like Trickster got some gold love as well. And like, so there are examples that, and Slaughter, like, there are examples that did exceed those expectations of, hey, yeah, these new bands are selling very well. But it's very few and far in between, especially with how many bands that there were that were so great that just did not get the promotion or the love. And Steelheart is certainly one of them, especially with the second album here, because they did get love on their first album, no doubt. Came out in 1990 as well. That's another band that I could have thrown in here. Steelheart did get the love because of Angel Eyes, uh, that to really push that gold or platinum. Not sure if it went gold or platinum. It went one, but either way, like, yes, that's good. But then once 1992 came around, Steelheart was just pushed under the rug. Damn shame. It's just a damn shame. So that is Tangled in Rains from Steelheart.
Hey, this is Michael Kelly Smith from Brittany Fox. You're watching the Krash Kourse Metal Show. Rock on.
All right, so our last choice here today is going to be an interesting one because they play in a lot of different elements, and that is going to be Slammin Glades or Gladys.
There's no way you can pronounce that right.
And this is their self-titled debut, which is interesting here because like a lot of people know the band Smashed Gladys or Gladys, and I have that album, but I just was never really big into that album. Or that band. I just never really got into them. So whenever I go to a Gladys band, it's always going to be slamming. So, but an interesting tidbit here that not a lot of people know about. A lot of people don't even know about this band, but also the executive producer is our boy Janie Lane, like none other from Warrant. Like I don't know if he did any other production as after this, even because to me that's always strange. And you don't really hear that from anyone, even like people that like Warrant or like Janie Lane or what have you. Like, I don't really ever hear like his production side. Now, maybe this is the only one. I'm not sure. And you know, because this obviously didn't do well, you could say, okay, he just kind of gaffed that and just focused on songwriting and Warrant and stuff after this. So this is on Priority Rocks Records, which I have no idea who that is. I don't remember seeing it anything else that I own that with that name. I don't even know if they're an offshoot of anything bigger. So if you guys know anything about that, let me know in the comments. But what's interesting though about this band is that they play along the lines of a Bang Tango, not as edgy, and also a band King of the Hill. If anyone's familiar with King of the Hill, with like a how do I want to explain this? Funk sounding metal rock, and also like type of a dance feel as well, like New Jack Swing, even like what else can we throw in there? It has horns in here as well, which I dig. Like I like when bands did this. Like this is a product of certainly nine. This album is certainly the most album out of the three. Like if you will put it on, you'd be like, okay, yeah, this is certainly from 1992. Like you can tell because you have everything like from 1991 and 1992. Like you got a little bit of that funk metal going on, like that was starting to become a thing. Even New Jack Swing was a really big thing in 91, 92, inside the R&B and pop section. So because like Michael Jackson with Dangerous, that came out around in 91, and he really kind of dove into that. And and also with the guitars as well, like he had Slash, Steve Stevens on. So even at that point, like, so you get a little bit of this in here too, like, which I really like because I like King of the Hill as well. Like I like when what they were trying to do. Now, is this the greatest album that God ever gave us? No, it's not. But I like what they're trying to do here. You got Bad Attitude, which is cool. They do a cover of Piece of My Heart. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of the original song, but Rough Cut absolutely kills it. Like Rough Cut's version of Piece of My Heart slays anyone else's version I ever heard of. So, and even Slammin' here, their version of it is a little too slow for me. I get it is different in what they were trying to do. I get it. But to me, if I'm going to listen to the song, it's got to be Rough Cut. That's the only way I'll listen to it. So, but you also got a fun song here, Push, funky as hell, groovy, horny, if you will. Just I don't know. It's just absolutely. It's just cool. It's catchy as hell. It If this doesn't get you moving, now I do like funk, blues, R&B, and stuff like that, soul. So like I have like a small soft spot for that kind of stuff. So that's why I like it in my metal. With Bang Tango and King of the Hill and such like that. So this is probably why I do enjoy this album more than I should, maybe. But still, nonetheless, it deserves to be heard by people. And you got Janie Lane as executive producer on here. Like, come on. Like, what the hell? There has to be something good on here, right? So What You Need Is Fine. Love Is My Drug is cool. There is a song called Come, and yes, it is spelled exactly the way that you think it's spelled right now. But it's a damn good song. It's a damn good song. Silicone Sally is the last track on here, number 11, which is fine. Uh, I I I like this album. It's good. I don't know what. Obviously 1992. So like that's what could be hurting because even like King of the Hill didn't really have much going for them, and they came out in 91, I believe. And still at that point, like it's just like and I think King of the Hill's singles were certainly stronger than Slammin's here. But nonetheless, this is still a fun song or a fun album. Nonetheless, especially if you like that, because all hair metal is party metal, if you will. But I think like the funk side, like really brings it out, like brings out the party feel of it. I don't know that maybe that's just me, but nonetheless, Slammin Glades or Gladys, however you want to say it, very very good stuff. And I gotta admit, I've been looking for this album for a long, long time because I remember this album cover, and I thought, oh, that is a very interesting looking album cover, as you can tell. And I remember seeing it on eBay like when I was a mid-teenager or so, and I'm like, okay, all right. And I just never found a physical copy. And it was up until like a couple years ago. I just randomly went to a record store somewhat near me, but I'd never been there before. And I was just flipping through the CDs that they had. They didn't have the biggest selection of like hair metal or anything like that, but I seen this Wrapped. You might actually be able to see the video of that on the channel. I did I did record it, so it's like a year old. So if I can remember, I'll put the link to it above me. But either way, I'm glad I have this in my collection because I don't know the last time I seen a physical copy of this, and it was pretty cheap, all things considered, that I paid for this, and still brand new. So like badass. I can't complain. But nonetheless, guys, if you guys like a little bit of your horny, funky metal, if you will, definitely give it a try. Especially if you're a fan of King of the Hill, give Slammin Glades a try because that's the closest thing I could give it to. Because it's not bang tango either, but I do play with that funk as well. Especially if you like a lot of funky bass. Slammin Glades does do that a decent amount. So that is going to be our third pick here. Slammin Glades with their self-titled. We also had Steelheart, Tangled in Rains, their sophomore effort. And then we had Bob Rock's Rockhead here in 1992 as well. A little bit of Canadian hard rock, hair metal, if you will, thrown in here. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think of these three.
Talk to me.
And let me know if there's any other as well. Like I said, this is part number 5, so we're slowly getting through them, and I still have a whole stack over here for 1992 and 1991, all the years, technically. But 1992 and 1991 were so many great albums, and it's going to take us a good amount of episodes to get through just those 2 years. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay out of that collateral damage. And if you guys enjoyed this Forgotten Album episode, check out the whole series right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.